Fifth, you love your son?
I used to. You ask yourself how long, a complicated question would say, how long can you love something that don't love you back? Like many kids from his generation, Marquise has always been into sneakers. Because he's my son, he couldn't just rock any old sneakers either. If a new pair of Jordans came out, he had to have them right away. His mom developed an entitlement that cannot be met. There have been a lot of disappointing moments in my relationship with Marquise over the past few years. But the lowest was when I saw him post a picture of himself with Kyle McGriff, the son of Kenneth Supreme McGriff.
Told me to take the picture. Gee, I didn't even know who it was. He didn't tell me till after we left out of the club who that was.
Welcome back to InTheStreetzTV, and today we still talking about 50 Cent, his bitter baby mother, and his son Marquise Jackson. This is part 2. So before we get into this video, make sure you smash that like button, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe with post notifications turned on. Now before we continue to talk about how Marquise and his mother fumbled the bag and became bums, let's talk about this post that Marquise put on Instagram last night. As a grown man, he is begging his father to spend time with him and even offering to pay him $6,700 to do everything he wanted to do as a kid. Marquise said, "Since y'all think $6,700 is so much money, someone tell my pops I will pay him $6,700 for 24 hours of his time so we can do everything I ever wanted to do with him as a kid." Now, a lot of people was in the comment section saying this is a cry for help, and a lot of people were saying he's trolling. Either way, it's too late. That boat has sailed. You are a grown man now. You are 26 years old. And by the looks of it, if y'all look at the screen, that $6,700 was feeding him very well. So much he decided to go to the club and get a bunch of ones to throw on the dancers. But $6,700 is not enough. He couldn't even buy a pair of socks with $6,700 according to him. But you got my man in fur coats as y'all see on the screen, right? And you got my man with stacks of money to his ear. Oh, we not done yet. And we got my man standing in front of the Big B, the Bentley. Oh, let's not forget riding in back of the back in a Maybach, pushing big boy Benzes that look like the milk truck. Oh, if that wasn't enough, y'all, if that wasn't enough, he had to switch it up and get the Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah, y'all know the one with the trunk in the front? Yeah, that one. But enough of that. I just wanted to show y'all where that $6,700 was going. It was going to him stunting. Either he was renting those cars, leasing, or financing them cars just to play the part. And now that he's 26 and he's a grown man with no child support coming in, that lifestyle has gone. So that's why he's bringing up all these old situations with 50 so he could get a buzz, so he could try to make some money offline. Y'all know how it go. But 50 tried to set him up for life. He tried to start his son a sneaker store online worth billions of dollars.
Like many kids from his generation, Marquise has always been into sneakers. Because he's my son, he couldn't just rock any old sneakers either. If a new pair of Jordans came out, he had to have them right away. If Marquise asked for a pair of Jordans on Monday, his mother would make sure they were on his feet by Tuesday. It still didn't make him happy. Instead of being excited to rock his new pair of Jordans, all Marquise could think about was all of the retro Jordans he didn't have. When he should have felt gratification, all he really felt was disappointment. I could not relate.
Now, for the people that was running with the narrative that 50 Cent is a deadbeat dad, he didn't do nothing for his son, etc., etc., as y'all can see, he tried to set him up with an online sneaker store to make millions to billions of dollars. And the mother stopped that in motion. Why? Because she wanted to open up a boutique in Atlanta. That never happened, and she is the one that trained her son to be the way he is today.
I'm having more issues with my son's mother.
Holy shit. Put the music down.
You don't got no issues with me.
Yeah, you live on the radio.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Now tell him how you told my son to call me and tell me he need 50 pairs of sneakers for back to school.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
You said he said somebody else got a whole bunch of pairs of sneakers.
He said a boy in his class fronted on him and said he has 50 pairs of sneakers. And Marquise said, how the hell does he have 50 pairs of sneakers? And his father's a lawyer. My dad's on the Forbes list. That's exactly.
Yeah, then why you didn't be a responsible parent and say,
yeah,
look.
I said you don't need
You don't need 50 pairs of shoes.
20 pair. That is a responsible he could do 20. That's responsible.
20 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I don't have kids, so I can't comment.
You ain't average.
I'm sorry, boss.
The boss ain't average.
All right, everybody just heard you.
When I first got together with Shaniqua, neither of us had much. We were both living in what we perceived to be the bottom. Our goals didn't extend much past having a decent place to stay and fresh clothes to wear. Then my situation changed, and I suddenly had resources at my disposal. A lot of resources. And I wanted to share them with Shaniqua. We weren't together anymore, but she was the mother of my son. She was with me before the fame, and I acknowledged and respected that. She saw me rise, and I wanted to help her find her own success. With that in mind, I would ask her, what you want to do with your life? Did she want to go to school? Did she want to learn interior design? Fashion? I kept asking her to identify the occupation that would provide her with some kind of purpose that could provide both wealth and personal satisfaction. Not only would this be good for her personally, but I also wanted our son to be raised by someone who had a career of her own. But no matter how many times I asked, Shaniqua never had an answer for me. I'd bring up different possibilities and scenarios, but there was never a connection. It was incredibly frustrating. I didn't like sending a check every month to someone who didn't seem to have any interest in working. She might as well have been on welfare back in the hood. The only difference here was she was getting a bigger check from me than she would have from Uncle Sam.
So as y'all can see, he tried to put his son's mother in position to make her own money and have her own career. He also tried to put his son in position to have his own business, and they both declined.
It finally came to a head one day when I was visiting her and Marquise one weekend. So what do you want to do? I asked her once again. She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and said, ain't nobody working if they don't have to. Oh shit, I sputtered. I suspected people thought that way, but no one had been ill enough to actually say it out loud in front of me. You already did it, she said firmly. So why should I have to do it too? I'm good. I don't mean to sound dramatic, but it was one of the most shocking conversations of my life. And I've had a lot of conversations people would consider shocking. I'm extremely serious about the value of hard work. I believe it creates not only success, but happiness too. You can never feel satisfied if you're not applying yourself to something you feel passionate about. When Shaniqua said, ain't nobody work if they don't have to, it was like she was dismissing everything I believed in. At that moment, I knew things would never be right between us. We just saw the world different ways. I was disgusted that she didn't want to work, and she was disgusted that I thought she should. I understand that she had the responsibility of raising our son largely on her own. I tried to apply less pressure on her when he was younger because of that. But once he was in his teens and didn't need someone holding his hand every second, I hope Shaniqua would finally start to show some ambition.
So not only was his son entitled, his baby mother was also entitled. Now I want to know, did he even see any of that $6,700 that 50 was sending him? Or did the mother take majority of that money and blew it? Because how you end up with a mansion that's fully paid for, a Range Rover, all your bills is paid by 50. Yes, the house burnt down, but you didn't save not a dime, not none of that money. You didn't invest none of that money. You didn't take that money and go to Atlanta and buy a house out cash. Y'all didn't have to stay in New York City since y'all said 50 had so much beef and y'all couldn't stay anywhere. Y'all could have moved to any state and bought a house out cash. Back when 50 first came out in the early 2000s, houses in Atlanta, you get a house for $250,000 and only pay the taxes every year on that house. That's it. They would have been set as far as a house go.
There was a period where she made some noise about getting into real estate. I thought that was a great idea. Atlanta was a growing market, and I offered to pay for the classes she would need to get her license. But after a few months, it was clear that the passion wasn't there. She wasn't excited walking into a house for her first time and envisioning all the possibilities for it, or by taking her older property, fixing it up, and flipping it for a profit. She just liked that being a real estate agent was something you could do from home. Of course, nothing ever happened. Looking back, I can see that the moment Shaniqua said, ain't nobody working if they don't have to, is when our relationship hit the point of no return. Up until then, I had visions that we could still fashion some sort of partnership. Maybe not romantically, but at least as parents with a common goal. a business we could start that would benefit our son down the road. When it was clear that she not only did not share that vision, but was actually offended by it, my attitude towards her completely changed.
If I'm a $1 million, yeah, my son gonna be $1 million. I'm $1 billion. My son gonna be $1 billion.
Because a lot of people from the outside, the boy look just like you.
That's
They a lot of people from the outside think that situation is sad, man. The child can't come to something.
It is sad. It's a sad situation, right? And when you pray for success, you don't necessarily pray for the things that come with it, right? And there's no such thing as success without jealousy, without envy, or entitlement. And entitlement is growing in someone you love, in the scariest part, right? And his mom developed an entitlement that cannot be met. Filtering that energy through his actual personal interests. Let's say now that he's starting to like females, he's conscious of what kind of shoes he want to wear. I need these Jordans, the retro Jordans is coming, different things. And then his mother go, all right, I'll get them for you, but it just bothers me because you're supposed to have them all. So while being a privileged child, he feels deprived. When you had everything I didn't have. I can tell you how much my kids cost in New York State, $1.360. You see what I'm saying? And I don't have an issue with paying the support fund. The reason why I'm the way I am with those kind of situations, I pay my support that year that the baby's born. Move the money to the account, let it, and it automatically disperses a certain amount of money per each month. So with him, I noticed over the years like it developed, because I blamed it on his mom for a long time. But it's not his mother, it's him. Like I've gone places where he was at and he left.
Fifth, you love your son?
I used to. You ask yourself how long, a complicated question would say, how long can you love something that don't love you back? You see, so in this experience, you look and you say, I didn't think success would cost me my firstborn, but it's the situation it is. It's like my grandfather would say, it rattled like a snake. If it slithered like a snake, is it a snake or do you need to be bit? Right? And that's the Aiken, South Carolina, and this is the country, she'll say. And what he keeps saying is, every time you see the boy, you show up with somebody you got a problem with. What does that take?
Now, when I look at the comment section, a lot of people do not understand what 50 is saying at this point right here. So I'm gonna break it down for y'all, and then we're gonna get to these next clips. So Marquise Jackson decided to take a picture with one of 50 enemy's son, Supreme Jr. Now, Supreme allegedly put a hit on 50 Cent back in the early 2000s after he released a song called Ghetto Quran, which led to 50 getting hit 9 times and almost didn't make it.
Been a lot of disappointing moments in my relationship with Marquise over the past few years. But the lowest was when I saw him post a picture of himself with Kyle McGriff, the son of Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Without rehashing too much bad history, Kenneth McGriff was one of the biggest drug dealers in Queens, and the man the authorities believe was behind the attempt on my life. So by posing with his son, Marquise was basically co-signing the individual who might have tried to have his father killed.
The first day I took it, you mean? Did I think they was gonna? No, not really.
What was going on that night?
I didn't even. One of my friends that was in the club that we was in, one of my friends that was in there, told me to take the picture. I just took the picture right then and there. I didn't even really know. I didn't even know who it was. He didn't tell me till after we left out of the club who that was. Like when we first took the picture, like, yo, take the picture. I'm not worried about that. I'm just taking the picture. And then he told me once we got outside who it was, and it was just funny. Like nobody never seen the picture. Nobody until a year or two after it was taken. Then people started seeing the picture. I would show person here and there, and then.
Now that clip y'all just seen was Supreme's son, basically Supreme Jr. Now we can't blame Supreme Jr. for what his father have done, and his father putting a hit on 50 Cent. We can't blame him for that. But at the same time, 50 Cent's son not knowing what type of danger he could have put himself in if he did take on his father trait and said, oh, that's 50 son? Okay, we gonna set him up, we gonna line him up. But let's take it back to what 50 Cent said. He said we can't just live in any neighborhood because we got a Forbes lister that have beef with everybody. We not normal people. We can't just live in any neighborhood. So basically they want to live in a safe neighborhood. They want to live away from the drama, right? But you putting yourself in the middle of the drama by taking pictures with his enemies, and you're hanging around with his enemies. So at the end of the day, are you just stunting or fronting? Because if you were so scared of his enemies, you wouldn't be taking pictures with his enemies. Think about it. Now the friend that he said take the picture with Marquise was Slowbucks. He didn't want to name him, but it was Slowbucks. And this is why 50 Cent gave the word while he was performing on stage to put the beats on Slowbucks. When Slowbucks jumped on stage back in 2014 Summer Jam. Now if y'all take a real good look, 50 walked to the back of the stage, right? That's when he seen Slowbucks, and he gave the word to his peoples to take Slowbucks' chain and give him the beats live on stage in front of everybody. Now all this stems from them taking a picture with his son Marquise. As y'all can see, one of 50 goons grabbing Slowbucks' chain. Now Slowbucks should have known better after taking a picture with 50 Cent's son and 50 Cent responding. As y'all can see, 50 said this picture was a bad idea. And after that, Slowbucks went on stage with 50 Cent and got the beats put on him. He should have known better.
What's the beef with 50? What was the beef?
I mean, it's no beef with 50. I mean, I didn't know that it was an issue to the point that it'll lead to all what it led to.
Got you. So when you put the picture up with his son and you had your middle finger up, that wasn't like...
No, I know Marquise. Like, we was together from young, you know what I'm saying?
What about when Trav made the diss record and you was in the video with Trav?
I wasn't in the video.
Oh, you wasn't in the video? Okay. All right.
Now, on that picture, 50 left a comment that was a bad idea.
You cool all those artists that was up there,
cool Fab,
and how come they ain't come, and how come they ain't stop none? At the end of the day, I can't expect people to be who I am. Just because I will jump out the window for you doesn't mean that I expect you to do the same for me. Because I just may not be who you are. You just may be rapping about.
When they hit you and you were on the floor on that stage, your peoples or the people that you thought were around you, there was Banks was there, Yayo was there, and nobody knew what happened. All they seen was you on the floor. And that didn't bother you at all that, you've been up and down with these guys. And nobody knew what happened. Nobody knew that, whether who happened or what happened. But it just looked like a random sock. And you were on the floor and nobody did nothing.
That was a sock.
So as y'all can see, 50 Cent was protective over his son. He was not playing with nobody over his son. Y'all see what he did to Slowbucks. And Slowbucks was on that floor overtaking a picture with his son. So if that don't tell you 50 had love for his son, then I don't know what to tell y'all. But as far as his son going as far as taking a picture with Supreme Jr., he took it too far. And that's when 50 had to back up off him. Because at the end of the day, how could he trust him now?
People will always try to make relationships on a common bond of disliking someone. Like, be friends with you because your enemy is my enemy.
Yeah.
And he sees himself that way. To the extent where he's actually taking pictures with Preem's son or doing different things that, and you go, well, I'm like, I don't even understand where your motivation comes from with these things, but.
Can you excuse any of that because of how young he is?
No, he's 23 years old, 24 years old. It's not a baby no more, it's a grown man. See, I look at you as you grown, your decisions that you make as you start to pass what they would have did to us. They would have charged me like an adult at 15. So at 23, it's like you grown in my head. My homeboys, they had their babies at 15. At that point in the neighborhood, that was when you actually got into, we started the sexual thing. You know what I'm saying? It started to really get into it, and everybody 15, 16 years old was the point that he was having kids. So like I was super late with him because I didn't want to have, something that I didn't actually connect with because we both was babies. At that point, and then later, all these things don't turn out the way you want it. Life just doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? And
what would have to happen for you guys to have a relationship again? That's the last question I'll ask about it.
I I don't know. I ran into him one time. This is ill, right? Right after, it was 2 months before his support was finished, right? And at the time, he's standing at the desk talking to the jeweler, and he had a small diamond chain, 2 small diamond chains, trying to get a bigger diamond chain, right? Trading them, see how much you can get that one. And I walked in, he goes, "Oh, you got somebody like watching me?" I said, "Nah." He said, "Oh, so coincidence?" He said, "Yeah, coincidence." Then he turned back to the jeweler, he goes back to talking to the jeweler, and he's like, nah, I can't do that. Now I'm like, because of how much the jeweler's asking him for. So you can't do it. Oof. Negotiating, putting 2 small diamond chains back to get a bigger diamond chain with the money I'm mailing him. His mother never had a job. She didn't do nothing. I would have questioned whether I was wrong if she did something after the fact. She genuinely did not want to do nothing. This girl looked me in my face and told me, like, she was like, "You bought Mike Tyson's house?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "So why you ain't tell me this?" I said, "Because you ain't moving there." Well, I would have had to leave them in Mike Tyson's house. Like Mike left his old lady in him there when I got it. You see what I'm saying? So, because they would have said he's accustomed to this lifestyle and this is what he would have changed the whole scenario. So, when I said, "Nah, you gotta go, you gonna get a place over here," I gave her the same money that I gave my grandmother to buy my grandmother's house, for her to pick out a house and buy her house. And you go there until you figure out what you want to do. You don't want to do nothing. You're not coming with me stand like that. She was like, "You did it already. Don't nobody work if they don't have to work. You already did it." Feeling like the records you already sold. If I was thinking like that, that's who I was. Yeah, they've been over.
Damn.
Because if you think about it, a lot of people, like in the book I say, when you hustle, right? When you hustler, you adapt a mentality, you live by those ways, right? If you experience a setback, it's okay. So it's always, the setback is for the get back. It's for, for you to feel that low, the way you feel when something goes bad. Damn, it's for how it feels when it's going right? So you can actually feel that, experience that joy at that point, and then you could be getting money. Police sweep. You got 3 people busted at one time. You got to bail all of them out. You got to pay lawyer fees for all of them. You got to have all your money that you had in the bank that you felt was just yours and profits is now taken out of your profits and placed into the necessity of keeping you functioning.
So now that y'all seen that and heard that, stroll down to that comment section. Tell me what y'all think about this crazy situation. I'ma just say this. 50 Cent's son is 26 years old right now. There's no more child support. It's gone. It's over with. It's done. He is a regular, normal person. Nobody really knows him as 50 Cent's son unless he jumps on the internet. In the real world, I'm pretty sure people just walk right past him. Feel me? So at the end of the day, he can go get a job. He could find a career, a hustle, or something to make some type of money instead of getting online, bringing up stuff from years ago. All this information is old. It's just resurfacing because he's going on interviews, bringing it back up. Nobody wants to hear nothing about him. They just want to hear about 50. That goes to show you that he needs 50 name in order to get the attention that he's looking for. Once that stops, his whole world is done. But check out this last clip, and this last clip is what hit the hardest. I know he cried at nighttime, knowing that he fumbled the bag, knowing that his mother messed up his future.
Sure, Marquise never following up on the sneakers might seem like a small thing. The type of irresponsibility and lack of initiative teenagers and young adults display all the time. But it was a huge disappointment to me. Forget about being able to afford his personal sneaker collection. That online store could have ended up making us both a killing. We had that conversation years ago. Since then, online sneaker sites have become incredibly lucrative. GOAT.com is valued at $550 million, while StockX.com has $1 billion valuation.
So now that y'all seen that and heard that, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe with post notifications turned on. I'm out. Peace.